Good afternoon. My name is Alan Barnes. I'm the city manager for the city of Stephenville. Welcome to our first virtual town hall meeting. Today I have with me Jason King, our assistant city manager. Next to me is Police Chief Dan Harris, and next to Chief Harris is Chief Jimmy Chu of the fire department. He is also our emergency management director. As I said, we want to welcome you to this first town hall meeting about the current situation with COVID-19. This meeting is being streamed both over Facebook Live and YouTube. We've been receiving questions over the weekend, and we'll continue to receive questions via the comment section on the live stream on Facebook. We'll answer as many questions as we can. Please understand that there'll be some questions that we do not have the answer for. If we don't know, we'll tell you we don't know. If another agency is the correct recipient for the question, we'll let you know. We'll get to as many questions as we can in our allotted time. Here's what we know for sure. As of this morning, one person in Erath County has tested positive for the COVID virus. This person was tested last Thursday and was notified last night of the positive result. I received confirmation this morning from Public Health Officer Kelly Doggett. It is our understanding that the resident is a resident of Erath County and is in self-quarantine at their home. They are not a resident of Stephenville, but do live in Erath County. Jason?
Yes, sir. First of all, we knew and we expected to start getting results like this, and just want to remind everybody that, again, we knew those were coming, and so that shouldn't cause any more panic to us. Our federal government, state government, and at the local level, our local disaster declarations have given us some guidance and some rules to follow, and we should all just keep following those. Along with that, just about 30 minutes ago, I spoke with both the manager of H-E-B and the manager of Walmart, our two largest grocers. Both of them have assured me that product is available in both of those stores. H-E-B said they have plenty of product and they want the public to know that. Walmart said they receive 5 to 7 trucks a day. So we would just continue to ask folks not to panic when they go to our grocery stores. We know we've seen some really long lines early in the morning, and so we would just ask folks to remember that both stores are receiving stuff daily, and to follow our rules and guidelines as far as social distancing and those things. Walmart did want me to remind everybody that on Tuesdays from 6 to 7 a.m. is a specific time for seniors in our community to visit Walmart, and during that time they also have their vision department and pharmacy department there at that time, so that our seniors can get all of their needs met at one time in the morning.
Great. Chief Harris?
Good afternoon, everyone. As your new police chief, there's a couple of things that I wanted to mention, and first off is that the men and women of this great police department stand ready to protect you, and it's all hands on deck for us. So my job as your chief is to keep bad people and bad things out of this great city, and one of those bad things is this virus. So as the two leaders next to me have said, please heed those things that we are saying that you need to do, and have patience and flexibility with us. It's an unprecedented time in our history, and so I want to mention, and I hope there are no criminals listening, but if there happens to be a couple of them that are paying attention to us right now, wrong place, wrong time to prey upon the citizens of the city of Stephenville. We are out there in full force, and we are working, all of us together in the Erath County law enforcement, to make sure that if you come here during this most vulnerable time to commit a criminal act to take advantage of us while you're here, we're going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law, and we stand ready to do that. So if there's something you see out there nationwide or something that makes you think different about what law enforcement and how they're responding during this most vulnerable time for us, we're there. And so lastly, I'll say I couldn't be more impressed by the citizens in my short time here. They call us. They have faith and confidence in the police department here, and when they see something that is wrong, when they see criminal activity, they call us and we respond. And so thank you, and please keep doing that as we go through these challenging times. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Chu?
Thank you. As this began to spool up, we reached out to our local and regional partners, and we started making plans on a regional level for mutual aid when it's needed to come in. We have been talking with the hospitals and our local partners as far as other EMS and fire services here to make sure that we could meet the needs of the community. One of our first needs was the personal protective equipment. We have done, I think the guys have done a fantastic job of being able to secure some of that. We're in pretty good shape right now for several days, and we expect the supply line to come on down. Right now, everybody is pretty much sheltering in place. They're taking care of themselves. Our run numbers are going down as far as EMS, which is a great thing. We appreciate the help of the community, and we're here to serve.
Thank you, Chief Chu. We've had some questions submitted over the weekend, and I'll answer the first question. It's I heard of the recent discovery of the first positive COVID in Erath County. I understand it was only one person who worked in Stephenville. Although I did not have contact with this individual, they did come in contact with several people, and I assume some of those have children. Will the decision on keeping child care open still be in effect, or does it change things? At this point, there's been no change in the original declaration. The council has decided to meet on Wednesdays of each week for the time being, and if there is a change, it will come from one of those meetings. At this time, we've not received any indication from the council that there's an intent to impact child care in our community. Jason, do you want to do one?
Sure. One of the questions that was sent to us was asking if we have a plan to get enough tests that everyone in the city could be tested, regardless of whether or not they exhibit symptoms. What we have to say about number of tests is we're seeing the testing availability drastically increase every day across the country and across the state of Texas. There is testing that is being done in Erath County and Stephenville when it is needed, and we know that, again, the availability of those tests is increasing daily. And to our knowledge, we have no information that our testing needs have exceeded our capabilities here in Stephenville at this time.
Okay. Jimmy, Chief Chu, one of the questions that we
Jimmy's fine.
Yeah, same thing. One of the questions that we received was talking about emergency health care. We all understand the symptoms and the way that COVID presents itself, but what about the everyday emergencies? What if somebody's having a heart attack or some other injury? How should people react to that? How should they access the healthcare system?
At this point, we're treating emergencies other than COVID-19 just like we always had. They're an emergency. Heart problem's a heart problem. If you need someone in that situation, call 911 and we'll come there. We'll take you to the hospital. This is probably the biggest fear of the COVID-19 situation, is that this will overwhelm the hospitals where we can't do it. And we appreciate everybody taking care of themselves and not trying to overwhelm those hospitals at this time.
Chief Harris, you
Yes.
get one now.
Yes, sir.
The city council has prohibited groups larger than 10 in gatherings larger than 10 folks. How are the police department enforcing that? Are they, this particular person saw a gathering out at the city limits, Purple Goat. How or why was that not addressed? Can you kind of fill us in on that?
Yes, sir, sure can, and thank you for sending in that question, and I'll tell you a couple of things. Is we need your help to abide by this emergency declaration and all of the guidelines that CDC and the federal government and the state government and the local government, us, are asking you to do that. So first I'll mention when it comes to the Purple Goat, obviously that is outside the city limits, and I will pass that on to my counterparts in the sheriff's office and make sure they're aware of some of those type of things. But we are asking you to help us with that. I don't have a police officer here on this department that wants to have to enforce these regulations, but that is where we are, and we're going to be diplomatic, we're going to be compassionate, we're going to be understanding, but it is for our best welfare of the future of us as citizens of this great city, is that we do this we take care of ourselves, and so there are a lot of people out there, I think, that are challenging, are we really taking this serious enough? We are, and I ask that your help and us in policing this together as a team will be great, because again, if we have to take enforcement action, we'll take that enforcement action, but that'll be one of the last things that we want to do, is to have to cause someone another monetary issue related to this. So help us as we help ourselves with these rules. Sure.
Thank you, Chief. We've also received several questions about Tarleton State and how they're able to stay open and require their employees to be there, and are we going to restrict them from opening their buildings? Tarleton State is part of the state of Texas, and they're what's called a superior entity to the city. As such, the city does not have the ability to shut down the university. That's a decision made by the university, the Board of Regents, and ultimately the state of Texas. So we have very little control over anything that Tarleton does with regard to keeping their facilities open or whether they close them. Jason, you want to talk about sheltering in place?
Yes, sir. So we've received several questions about whether we're going to go to a shelter in place, also what our definitions of essential businesses. The first part of that, at this present time, we remain under the executive order issued by the governor on March 19th and the local disaster declaration of public health emergency issued by the city council. Neither one of those would be qualify at this time as a shelter-in-place order, as has been issued by some other local jurisdictions. From the governor's order, it did specifically say that in accordance with the guidelines from the president and the CDC, people shall avoid eating or drinking at bars, restaurants, and food courts, or visiting gyms or massage parlors, provided, however, that the use of drive-through, pickup, or delivery options is allowed and highly encouraged throughout the limited duration of this order. Our order here in Stephenville, we specifically said that our declaration does not prohibit gatherings of people in multiple separate enclosed spaces, like separate cubicles, in a single building, different floors of multi-level office, residential building, or hotel, so long as more than 10 people are not present in any single space. We also said that our limit did not apply to office buildings, government buildings, critical infrastructure, grocery stores, convenience stores, pharmacies, retail stores, manufacturing locations, nonprofit service providers, daycares, and medical facilities. Some of those questions we've gotten were why are massage parlors closed but salons aren't? Part of that is the order that was issued by the governor specifically mentioned one, but none of the others have been mentioned at this time. Our city council is meeting on Wednesday of this week. They continue, along with us, to evaluate information on a daily basis. And again, when they meet Wednesday, our declaration is up for discussion. And at that time, the council will, again, review all the best information available at that time and decide what actions are needed going forward from there.
Thanks, Jason. Chief Chu, we have a question that's come in. Is the fire department adequately staffed for this?
I never tell you the fire department's adequately staffed. We're always asking for more people. We are meeting our minimum staffing right now, and as long as we don't have a situation where we get people off for the illness, and we're taking every precaution to keep from that, we're able to meet our minimum staffing. We're doing some of it with overtime on some of the shifts, but yes, sir, we're meeting our staffing as we speak.
Let me ask you, if for whatever reason, maybe our ambulances are out, or maybe we, heaven forbid, have a fire going on and another ambulance call come in, explain to us how that call would be answered if all of our fire resources are dedicated to something. What happens when there's spillover calls?
Okay, we have a agreement with the county that county EMS would respond in ambulance. Normally, when we get into that situation where we're down and think we might reach that, we contact the county and say, are you guys ready? Can y'all make this call? And the next call comes in, dispatch would automatically turn it over to them. We've already made that call also to the city of Dublin, and Dublin has agreed to respond in ambulance at that point if we get, and the county can't. And we're predicting those things, possibly could happen, so we're trying to meet all scenarios.
And I presume if the county's out and all their resources are tied up, then they would fall back to us or Dublin, and same thing for all
Absolutely.
three.
We'll supply help for them. I anticipate that we will be helping each other, and you may be in Stephenville and see a county ambulance, and in the county and see a Stephenville ambulance, and they're both well-trained people, so don't worry about it.
Great. Chief Harris, let's do the same question for you. Let's talk about police resources and backup resources and worst-case scenarios and.
Yes, sir, no, absolutely, and as Chief Chu mentioned, we are adequately staffed to handle our call volume and to protect the public here in this great city. Again, our job, and so have a little patience with us if you see us practicing some of that social distancing as we respond to your call, or we ask you if we can take that call over the phone, if we can say, can I take this report in a different way than we might normally do? Now, that's very hard for police officers, for the Stephenville Police Department, because we want to interact as very closely with our citizens, but we may ask you those type of things. Our dispatchers, our telecommunicators, our operators, they may ask or let you know that we're going to stay separate a little bit there. So our police officers, our job is also, my job as a chief too, is to protect them, so they will always be there for you when you call 911. And right now, Mr. City Manager, we are adequately staffed, and we have those same agreements, like the fire chief mentioned, with the sheriff's office, my fellow chiefs, the Charlton Police Department, Dublin Police Department, the state of Texas Department of Public Safety. We all will work together and make sure that we have an adequate response if anyone needs us.
Great.
And Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
the chief brought up something there that this would be a good time to explain. When you call for 911 on an EMS call right now, you're going to get asked a lot of questions. We've got the dispatch has a standard list of questions. They're going to know if you've traveled extensively, if you've got a fever, what your symptoms are, and go through several things like that. They're trying to get information where our people will know how to respond and what precautions they take when they need to respond. If there's something questionable, you're used to in Stephenville, when the EMS shows up, you're used to seeing 2 to 4 guys run in to help you. Right now, you're probably going to see one guy come in, find out exactly what's going on, make sure that we don't have a contagious situation, and then he'll immediately call his partner in. Those partners are standing by outside and they're ready to come in, but we're trying to eliminate exposing as many people as we possibly can at this time.
Chief Chu, one of the questions that's come in is, how is your supply of PPE, and how are we replacing it since there's a nationwide shortage?
We are, I don't want to say stealing it, but we're scrounging right now.
Acquiring.
We're acquiring right now. We have actually, N95 masks are available at a lot of stores for a lot of reasons, and we have gone in and got those. I think right now with our current call volume, we've probably got somewhere a 6 to 8 day supply on hand right now. And we may could stretch that a little further. And we're hoping those supply lines will start loosening up in that amount of time.
Okay. Also, and I want to get to you with the same question, Chief, but,
Yes, sir.
we have a local custom leather shop who has said that if you could use their leather masks for PPEs, they would make them available. Would that be something that you guys might be able to use, or is there some medical requirement for the masks you're using?
Well, yes, sir, I've never thought about that, but an N95 mask is a special thing, and for our first responders, that's what we would like to have on them. The President of the United States, there are commercial masks that are used for commercial things, or medical masks. They're actually, we're finding out, made to the same standards, but the medical masks they're extra cost because of some of the liabilities that are in them and that kind of thing. The federal government has changed those liability deals right now, and so we're, again, I think we're okay. We've had painters use these masks a lot, especially automotive paint shops. We've had one automotive paint shop make contact with us and say, I'm not going to be able to use my Tyvek suits, and I'm not going to be able to use my mask, so could we donate that to the fire department? So we're reaching out on that kind of thing and getting those. And we've helped the police department with orders, and we're combining those orders to get them in.
Great. How are your guys?
Yes, sir.
doing?
We're in the same position, and that's a great question to talk about, because, again, we have to keep the first responders safe as they respond to you. So obviously, it's a different time, and as Chief Chu mentioned, you may see that initial different response where before it would, again, look completely different. But we're in really good shape. For our current call volume, and even today, we received several shipments in of extra PPE equipment that we were looking forward to receiving. And so, we appreciate everyone's concern for that, but we're in good shape right now.
Great. Chief Chu, I will tell you that somebody quoted you by saying appropriating PPE and gave it the thumbs up.
Okay, thank you.
One of the questions that's come in has asked about where tattoo parlors stand. At this point, there's no specific direction in the order dealing with tattoo parlors. There is the 10-person limit, and so at this point, that's where we would be gathering, or we would be concerned is at the 10-person gathering. I had a phone call today also of asking about garage sales. While garage sales are not specifically prohibited at this point, the police department is not issuing any garage sale permits because they are focusing on the problem at hand. And so it'll probably be a while before we get a garage sale permit processed. Jason, do you have any questions you want to address?
I think we've got most of the pre-questions that had been sent in to us, or there's a couple in the medical field that I'm not sure that we have all the answers for. One that I've seen pop up a couple of times, and Chief Chu, I may direct this to you, but the question keeps coming up, how many ICU beds and ventilators are available in Stephenville? And I don't think we have answers to all of that.
No, sir, I don't have answers to all of that right now. ICU beds are 5 right now. The ventilators, I don't have a total on that. And I think the question was directing at when we would be overwhelmed, and in a community our size, we could get overwhelmed as far as that goes pretty easily. But if we can, as everyone is saying, if we can level this curve out and make this go over, not peak so quickly, then I think we're in good shape.
Okay, great.
And if it helps anybody to understand this, the whole medical system is not made is not designed to withstand a steep peak like that. And so Stephenville is really working to do the best it can here, and I think we're in good shape.
I want to reassure everybody that everybody is really working together. the city, the hospital, the clinic, the independent doctors, the SurePoint folks, we're going to have a conference call tomorrow to talk about how to improve responses. We talk with the school district and the county daily. I've had, I think, 2 conversations with Dr. Underwood today. I know Mr. King's had several with Dr. Underwood. I've had a couple with the county judge. We all realize that we're in this together, and it's going to take a team to get us through this. This is probably the best interagency cooperation that we've had in many years in Erath County. There is a question about delivery of food and medicine if someone's quarantined at home. The Timber Ridge Church has offered to help folks who are infirmed, who are kept at home, who are seniors. All you have to do is reach out to them, and I'm sorry I don't have their number available, but I'm sure other churches are willing to do the same. I don't have any more questions here. Do you guys have any?
I don't have a question, but I'd like to talk about
Yes, sir.
a crime prevention item that to those who in the city of Stephenville who have businesses, I want you to know that, and we've already initiated this, but you may find this business card in between your door on the flooring and so forth there, but we at the Stephenville Police Department are stepping up our close patrols because we know your businesses are vulnerable while we're going through this and you're not able to be open. So you may find several of these business type cards where the officer's name and number and what time they checked on your business and what time it was secure. So I know you can ask for specific close patrols, but know that this entire city is going to be under a close patrol for us. So I have reallocated some of our resources from other specialty assignments to patrol so that we can help protect your businesses and in this community, your homes, while this is going on, because history will show that people will try to take advantage and those criminals will try to take advantage of you, and we're going to do everything we can to prevent that from happening here. So if you have any questions, our number is on that card, and I'll read it to you also, but it's 254-918-1273. Again, that's 254-918-1273, and we'll continue to remind you of that number online on Facebook and our social media platforms. But if you have any questions or anything, let us know, or if you have any concerns, by all means, please call us.
Chief, you started by, you started by saying to the criminal folks that are obviously not from our community,
Right.
might come in and
Yes, sir.
prey on our folks. Talk to us about the enhanced penalties, if you would.
Absolutely. And so already a couple of people throughout the state and in certain areas have realized is that if you go into these areas where we have an emergency or a disaster declaration and these type of events are taking place and you decide you want to, let's say, break into a car, you want to steal something, you want to break into someone's home, your penalties are going to be enhanced. First, we're going to investigate it, we're going to catch you, and our prosecutors are going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. We published a joint press release at the end of last week, and I'll send everyone that can see that online and with the newspaper and back for reference. But same thing goes, I mean, it's tough times right now where you may be stuck inside and sometimes it might lead to a disagreement or argument or something like that. But whether it's an assault case, a theft case, or property crimes, the penalties are subject to enhancement from misdemeanors to felonies during these times. And so I want to thank publicly our county attorney, Lisa Pence, and our district attorney, Alan Nash, because they have assured the leadership and the law enforcement officers of this county that you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Jimmy, we had a question a while ago that asked, if we call EMS, will the firemen come out, or the paramedics come out in PPE? Will they be wearing masks? Will they be any different than they normally are? What can, particularly when kids are involved, they could be scared.
Yes,
by
sir. It depends on the nature of the call and of course, the answers to the questions we get. And if there's any, I guess you'd say gut feeling, if anything else on it. And I think Chief Dan here will tell you the same thing. Firefighters and policemen operate a lot on gut feelings on things. If you got a bad feeling, you do something about the deal. And so, but if our guys show up and they are, if they have any kind of concern, or if you've given them any kind of concern, they will have a mask on, and that mask can vary from a hospital-type mask to up to and including an air pack. They will probably have coveralls on, they will have safety glasses on, and they'll have gloves on. You're used to seeing them in a uniform like this, like I have on. And don't let it worry you, because they're there for their protection. They're wearing it for their protection. They're also wearing it for your protection, because we go see a lot. We see more people than y'all are supposed to be seeing right now.
There you go. Thank you to the folks that have been giving us comments, because somebody sent us the phone number for Timber Ridge. So again, the Timber Ridge Church will help the senior citizens and those that are confined with errands and grocery delivery and medicine delivery. That number is 254-434-2507. Again, Timber Ridge Church, 254-434-2507. It looks like the questions are slowing down.
There's been a couple come in that I think
Okay.
we may want to point to. One was, if a shelter-in-place order came to pass, would that come from the mayor or the county judge? The answer is it could come from either or both. But we want everybody to know that your city government and county government are communicating on a daily basis. And so that all the available information is being discussed at both levels, and both governments are working to make sure they make the best decisions for the community as we move forward and move through this. Another was kind of asking where positive cases would be quarantined. At this time, that is still following CDC guidelines, which is recommending self-quarantining at home once that notification has been made to the person, unless they needed to be hospitalized. I've also been asked to mention that Meals on Wheels and United Way have partnered together to ensure that seniors in our community and county are having their needs met. And folks can contact either Meals on Wheels or United Way for details, and this covers groceries and medicine that may be needed by our seniors in our community.
There's a question that came in about, are immune suppressed people allowed to shop with the seniors during their shopping times? That's going to be left up to each of the stores. What you might do is reach out to Walmart about their time, which is 6 to 7 Tuesdays, which is tomorrow. I believe Dollar General out on 281, their first hour, I think it's 8 to 9 every day, is for seniors. We have a very great community that cares a lot about each other, and it's just seeing the comments coming in and the questions. It's really been heartening. I don't think there's really anything else. Jimmy, you want to give us some closing comments?
Yes, sir, thank you. Well, first off, I would like to thank all the other departments in the city that public safety is always the first in something like this, the first one and the first one everybody thinks about. But the other departments in the city are doing business, they're doing a great job, they're keeping your services up, and they're doing a fantastic job at it, and they're supporting us with a lot of things. And so I want to thank them. I want to thank the other agencies out there. I'm in constant contact. I think I've had 5 or 6 calls this morning with the emergency management coordinator of the county. We're in constant contact with them. We're in contact with the hospital almost hourly, and other agencies around here. We're in contact with the state disaster district in our region. And all these people are offering their help and helping us get through this thing, just like they are everyone else in the state of Texas. I'd also like to thank the citizens of Stephenville for all they've done to help slow down our runs, take down our workload, and taking care of themselves. They're taking care of themselves and each other and taking a lot of load off the system, and I appreciate that. And I would also very much like to thank the employees of the Stephenville Fire Department for their dedication and all they've done. These are trying times for people to go into harm's way and do the kind of job they're doing, and I'd like to thank them very much for what they're doing.
Chief?
Yes, sir, thank you, and I couldn't echo more of what Chief Chu has just said. I couldn't be more proud of the men and women of the Stephenville Police Department, and that the fact that it's a different way that they're putting their lives on the line, and I'm honored to be their chief. And I have only been their chief and your chief for the city of Stephenville for less than 2 months, but I tell you, it's emotional for me because I can't stand having our front door closed and locked. It's absolutely killing me. And so, let's get through this as fast as we can, because I enjoyed every day being in my office when people from the community would bring us things and treats and meals and just come by and say hello to us and thank us for what we do, even before these trying times. And so I want to get back to that. I miss having that door open. And so let's all work together and let's be patient and flexible. You keep hearing me say that. But let's do our part individually and get this over with as fast as we can and get back to the normal great city of Stephenville that we are. And so we're here for you. We will always be here for you. And I hope when you call, we will already be there before you've had a chance to place that call. That's our mission is to protect and serve you the best we can, and we stand ready to do that, sir.
Thank you. Jason?
Yes, sir. Again, echo both of the chief's comments. Proud of all of our employees here at the city, continuing to do what they do every day, despite the challenging times. But I'm also extremely proud of our community. I've been here a long time, and I really am seeing the best of the folks in our community. And we're all facing something that's completely unprecedented, both with our community and our nation and the world. But everybody's approaching it logically and calmly and doing their best to follow all the rules and guidelines that are out there. And we would just continue to ask everybody to do that. And again, rest assured that we're all staying in communication with each other and trying to get all the best information out and make the best decisions for our community as we move through this.
I want to say to the folks of Stephenville, what you've seen up here today with Chief Chu, who has almost 50 years with the city, to Chief Harris, who I don't even know if he has 50 days with the city.
Oh, sure.
You see, we're just an example of the dedication of the employees that work for you on a daily basis. We have other department directors who are working very diligently right now on the coronavirus solution as far as it relates to the city. We have a city council who is fully and completely engaged in this. I think I talk to the mayor probably 10 or 12 times a day. I talk to other council members probably pretty close to that amount. We're in uncharted territory. We don't have all the answers. We won't have all the answers until this is done and debriefed, and we at a nationwide level understand what's going on. But I want the folks of Stephenville to know that you have honorable people day and night working to better our lives. And we thank you for taking this seriously. We look forward to better times. One thing that I will say is our Chamber of Commerce has really gone out of their way to keep their website updated. You can go to StephenvilleTexas.org, and Texas is spelled out, StephenvilleTexas.org, and they are almost constantly updating their website so that the information can be out for our community. It's the truth when we say this changes on a daily to hourly basis. I send a report out to council every afternoon, and I used to send it at 4, but the first time I sent it at 4, by 5 o'clock, I had updated it 3 times. So rather than sending 4 emails, I send them 1 now. But I just want to say thank you to the citizens of Stephenville. Thank you to the gentlemen up here who are working day and night to get us through this. And I want to reassure the folks out that are watching this. This is just the first of several of these that we're going to do. We haven't decided how far apart we're going to space them, but I'm kind of leaning toward weekly right now, that we would do this once a week. And so if you have questions that you need answered, if you'll continue to send them to Stacy King, our city secretary. If it's something that has to be answered immediately, we'll answer it, and if it can wait until one of these, we'll answer it then. But until then, we thank you.
Thank you.